Hey everybody, Pastor Vern with your daily update for September 7th. It's Labor Day today. I'm going to try to get this one out today because I missed some last week, and so I'll try to. If you're seeing this, I remembered to upload it and get it out there. One of the things that I wanted to lift up to you is that uh, we are moving towards church conference time. So we're asking people to prayerfully consider their relationship with the church and how they want the church to continue. And so kind of keep that on your hearts. Also, as we go through these epistles, which are corrective letters to the churches that are written, the ones we've been talking about mostly have been talking about lately have been written by Paul. Much of those letters were written by Paul. And we talked about 1st and 2nd Corinthians. Now we're into Galatians. And Galatians is a very strong doctrinal letter. It's really about the foundation of faith, the foundation of the thinking of Christianity. Paul was no stranger to controversy. In fact, I think in some point he kind of thrived on controversy. He was probably the good one to write these because he was very strong in his conviction and his faith, and was not intimidated by those who would try to pull away from the doctrinal standards and systems that were being developed at that time in the church. You know, we're still in a relatively close time to the time that Christ actually had given himself for us on the cross, and so a lot of the things that were being brought out were still, I guess for lack of a better term, in the development stage. And so the church of the Galatians was struggling with teachers who had come there who were teaching that more about the Jewish law than they were about the things that Jesus brought about grace and faith and being saved by your faith and not by your works, even though works are important. The church was starting to pull away from what we call Pauline doctrine, and he really had to kind of bring them back. And so he writes this really pretty strong letter about how not only is the doctrine of grace, the salvation doctrine is by grace and not by laws, that faith in contrast to works, and liberty in contrast of license, or as you might say, contract. You're contracting with the laws of the Old Testament, so that that's your salvation. But liberty in Christ is more important because it gives us the ability to be free of sin through His sacrifice. And so he really pours it on pretty heavy in this book. I really think that when it comes to the doctrine of grace, this is one you want to read, and you want to read it relatively slowly, because there's a lot of information in here that is that needs some time for you to ruminate over, needs some time for you to take deeply into your hearts, and not to rush through this. I know when we use this in worship, even though I normally preach on the gospel that is written that week, it's very tempting to preach on when Galatians is the epistle reading, because it is so strong and is so dramatic. And quite frankly, some pastors like to stay away from it because it can be controversial, because once again, it's the doctrine of grace, and it's also the doctrine of freedom. And the freedom is from the freedom from sin and the freedom from the desires of this world. And desires of this world are very strong, and so sometimes it makes some conflicts there too. Really be broken down into about three different phases. The doctrine of salvation, that's the first couple chapters. If you don't read anything else, read that first couple chapters. The third and fourth chapter is about the bondage of the law, about how that does not set us free. It keeps us entrapped into a system that Christ really came to renovate when he came to earth and to walk among us. And the last part of the last couple chapters, 5, 6, is about um, how we as the sons and daughters of the faithful have been liberated by Christ's sacrifice. Um, it's a relatively short book. If it's one that if you're doing some type of reading and you're just kind of getting started and you want to know more about the doctrine of grace, which is the foundation of a lot of what we teach in Christianity, and a little bit about how Christ came to help us better understand a relationship with God, plus how following Christ's leadership really does not restrict what we do. It actually gives us more freedom to be the people that we can be. So kind of keep that in mind. It might be a good place to spend some time to reading and opening your heart to. All right. Well, you all take good care of yourselves. Watch out for others best you can, and stay safe. And we will see you later. Bye.